live back with a special episode again today, and we're going back to the movie genre. Dan, will you explain episode 17 to nobody?
Yeah, to nobody. To you. I'll explain it to you. Yeah, episode 17. And can you believe 17? We're almost of age. But yeah, so we thought our episode for our 80s movies was pretty good. I don't know if anybody else did. I don't think anybody else watched it, so maybe not. But we figured naturally let's do 90s too, because the 90s is probably just as stacked or more stacked than the 80s.
Yeah, this was
I'm
one of
rocking
the
my 90s movie mug right here, Stan Mikita's Donuts.
this was one of the hardest top tens I had to do. There's so many great movies, and especially because this is the era we grew up in. So
Yeah, yeah.
this is very tough for me. I went with what I always do when I choose my top tens. It's watchability. What movies have I watched the most of? Um, so a lot of great, great, great movies aren't going to be on my list. I'm not saying that the movies I picked are better, obviously, but
It's
these are
preference.
the movies that I've watched countless of times, and I can still throw them on now and still watch them. So they had to make my top 10 list. I didn't follow any other top tens of a lot of movies, rating websites that have a lot of the great, great movies. I probably have one or two of them, I would
Yeah.
assume, but all of them are going to be movies that I cherished as a kid and I still cherish now. So, Dan, talk to me a little bit about the 90s here. We're moving into a different genre from the 80s. We have a lot of actors really getting introduced. We have Adam Sandler really
Oh,
bringing
yeah.
out a lot of movies. We have Jim Carrey bringing out a lot of movies. North America is really getting their first taste of Jackie Chan in a big way. So explain to me the 90s.
The 90s, well, yeah, like you said, there's a lot of change. I mean, we saw the introduction of special effects as well. I think of a lot of action movies, a lot of giant, really big sets when I think of the 90s, like stuff like Titanic, like
Mhm.
these massive productions of, or Jurassic Park, massive animatronics, special effects. It's maybe the apex of that kind of stuff before CGI advanced to the point where it just replaced all of like actually building sets, building robotics and stuff like that. But it is also, like I said, our first introductory to special effects. Some good, some bad. We all go back and laugh at stuff like Independence Day now, and we're like, oh my god, we thought that looked awesome then. Like,
Especially Spawn is bad.
yes,
Um,
Spawn, yes. It
Mortal
looks like a
Kombat,
bad TV show these days.
yeah, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I don't know what they were thinking with those like special effects, but quick, quick
But at
fun
the same
story of the.
time, we
Go
saw
ahead, go
some
ahead.
great groundbreaking stuff like The Mask and like
Yeah,
I said, Jurassic Park.
yeah.
Some really groundbreaking special effects as well.
Quick story on the Titanic. That was the first time I ever got a boner. So,
Oh,
um,
is that right? When
Leonardo DiCaprio and whoever the other girl was, I can't remember her name, when they were
Kate
making love.
Winslet.
Yeah, when they were making love, gave me my first boner. I remember we were watching it with my family, and I ran into the bathroom because I didn't know what was going on.
Oh, that's awesome. I thought you were gonna say the scene with the drawing. I thought that's what you're gonna go with.
No. But sometimes when you're young like that, it just comes out of anything. So you don't
It
know.
doesn't take much.
It just happens. But
Some-
what we're gonna do here, we're gonna name off 10, 10, 9, 9. We're gonna keep going in that route. But we're gonna give a quick synopsis and then we're gonna rate the movies how we feel. So I guess you want to start it off or you want me to start it off?
yeah, I can start her off. Did you start off I don't remember who started
I
off last
always
time.
I always start it off. So
Yeah, you
let's
always start off, so we'll
so
switch
go
it up.
ahead. You can start it off.
Okay, I'm leading off. All right, so at number 10 on my list, I have a movie from 1995. Not quite sure the director, to be honest, but it
That's
is
okay.
1995 Empire Records. Are you familiar with this movie?
I am not. No.
See, I was on the fence whether I was going to have this at 10. I was between this and Dazed and Confused. I'm like, Which one of my
Okay,
like?
you know what? I do know what you're talking about now. I do know, but I've never seen it. But I think I know like the VHS cover.
Yeah, so I'll give you a brief synopsis, and maybe you'll recognize it a little bit more. It's basically just like this group of music obsessed teenagers
Yes, I know
that
it.
work in an independent record store. Basically, like the one kid Lucas, he finds a bunch of this paperwork, thinks that the owner Joe is selling the store to a big like corporate music store company, and so he takes all this money he finds and goes and gambles it away and loses it all. And then he finds out that Joe is actually just saving that money to try to save the store from being bought out. And
Yeah,
basically, they kind of like doom the store. But yeah, and it goes through. There's a bunch of events occur, like stuff like they have a singer come out to do an autograph signing, and there's a whole romance triangle between him, one of the girls that work at the store, and another character another character who works there. And yeah, it's like kind of a cult classic. I think they call it Rex Manning Day, the day that the singer's coming out to do the autograph signing, and people to this day celebrate Rex Manning Day. It's an actual date that people get together and watch the movie. So it's kind of a cult classic.
yeah,
I enjoy it just because it really embodies the '90s so much to me. It's like it's made in '95 and it's right in the heart of the '90s. So you see it in all like the clothing and the way people
yeah.
talk and the haircuts. It's just so '90s. So that's why I really wanted to include it. I could maybe prefer Dazed and Confused, but I wanted to include it because it's just so '90s, and we're talking about '90s movies here. So
Yeah,
yeah, it just didn't
something
feel
you can't
right
look at.
leaving it on. And oh
You put
man, Renee Zellweger is hot as fuck in this movie.
you put it over Good Burger.
Good Burger. I've never seen Good Burger.
Welcome to Good Burger.
What's
So
that
what?
fucking guy's name? That guy from SNL.
Yeah, the
That's from
black
Good
guy,
Burger.
right?
Oh
Something.
man, I don't remember that guy's name.
It starts with a K, right?
Yeah,
Keenan. It's like Keenan or
Keenan
Keenan.
Thompson. Keenan Thompson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, Good Burger.
I'm
Jesus.
horrible with names, but what are you gonna rate that movie out of 10?
Um, I mean, it's not like an incredible movie. It's just like I said, a movie I find like it nostalgic and stuff, and I feel like it embodies the '90s. So I'm not gonna give it like something like crazy. I'll give it like a I'll give it a 6.7.
Okay, that's fair.
Yes.
That's fair. All right. So my number 10 here is another movie to me that embodies the 90s. I absolutely love this movie. I've watched it so many times. This was the hardest one to put on my list because I had 15 other movies that needed to be on my list, but it
Yeah,
just
10's
didn't
the
make
hardest
it.
pick.
Yeah. So I'm just going to read the synopsis here quick and then I'll name the movie. In the summer of 1962, new kid Scotty Smalls moves to a new town
Oh
where
my God.
where a baseball prodigy takes him under his wing and, resulting in many different crazy adventures. I'm talking about 1993's The Sandlot.
Oh
Uh, you
yeah.
know, Such a great movie. I actually recently had a friend move to New Brunswick, and I surprised him and I bought him a Benny Rodriguez jersey, and I sent it over
Oh
to him.
nice.
So he got it. He sent me the picture. He absolutely loves it. We both love this movie. What a great movie this is. There's so many great scenes when these kids go on adventures. So many great jokes. So many great characters. Even James Earl Jones is in this movie.
Yes, yes. He's the
So
neighbor with the
yeah,
dog.
he's the one with the dog. So this is a very, we talk about cult classics. This falls in there too. It's such a wonderful movie. If you guys followed our 80s podcast, you'd know kids going on adventures are my
That's your
thing, my
thing.
favorite movies. This falls right in there. It was tough because I wanted to put Space Jam.
Yeah.
I wanted to put Rookie of the Year. There was a lot of great movies that I absolutely love, but The Sandlot topped all of them for me. Such a great story, man. Do you remember any stories about Sandlot? Do you remember your first time watching The Sandlot?
Oh man, I grew up watching The Sandlot. I mean, I don't. It's funny because I don't think I owned it, but it was just one of those ones that was on TV enough. You watched it all the way through your childhood, And yeah, what a great fucking movie. And I mean, I
Yeah,
think it was one of my first exposures to baseball. It's definitely the reason I knew who Babe Ruth was because he
yeah.
was the autograph on the ball that they lose over the fence, right?
And then for them here to go to the pool and they have the hot lifeguard and Squints plays that joke that he's drowning and he ends up getting a kiss from her when she's trying to do mouth to mouth on her. It's just a great movie. It like you said, it embodies that '90s feel. I'm gonna give Sandlot though. It's not like you said. It's not the greatest movie. I'm gonna give it a 5.5 out of 10.
5.5. Wow.
But I absolutely love it. I've watched it so many times, but there is a lot of, if we're rating movies on like a scale like that, there's a lot of movies far above The Sandlot. But what a wonderful, wonderful movie The Sandlot is.
Yeah, absolutely. Holy shit, Sandlot's awesome. Yeah, if you're putting that at 5.5, I'm going back and making my Empire Records one like a 4.4. 4.4 for
Well, I
Empire
want to
Records.
go. I want. You know what? I'll change The Sandlot. I'll give it a 6.3. There we go.
There we go. There we go. I'm still
But
gonna keep my
I I still want to buy my own Rodriguez jersey. I should have ordered two of them, but I ordered only the one. But maybe I'll get it.
he'd be right at the top of my list of all-time fictional baseball players. It would be either him or right neck and neck with him is Pablo Sanchez from Backyard Sports. You remember that, right?
I know.
Oh, yeah.
All right, buddy. Number nine. What's your number nine choice here?
All right, my number 9 choice. Again, like I was having the same problem as you. Like those last 2 picks in my or even the last 3 picks on my list is like hard to figure them out because there's just so many movies that could snuck on there. Probably interchangeable. But like this one, I didn't have on my list initially, but I'm in denial. It has to be there. I've been quoting this movie for years and stuff. And that movie is The Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, another great movie though.
Yeah, and I'll give you a little synopsis. I didn't have anything written down, but I was like off the top of my head, like basically, this female detective she's looking for the serial killer Buffalo Bill, and to help aid her investigation, she seeks the help of another serial killer who's captured in this insane asylum, Hannibal Lecter, played by
Hmm.
Anthony Hopkins, and it's just like an incredible psychological thriller. No, I wouldn't say horror. I'd say, yeah, psychological thriller. And again, just so quotable, extremely disturbing movie the first few times you watch it. But like, if you're like me and you've watched this movie like 100 times over the course of your life, it slowly just becomes a comedy.
Yeah.
Like scenes like where she goes to Buffalo Bill's door. She doesn't know he's the killer yet. He answers the door, and she asks if he knows anything about the missing girl, and and he says no, and then he goes, "Oh, wait a minute, was she a great big fat person?" Lines like that just kill me. Like Buffalo Bill slowly becomes the greatest unintentional comedy character of all time. I mean, dancing to Goodbye Horses with the wiener
Yeah.
tuck. I mean,
Oh,
obviously parodied constantly. But even in all seriousness, still a really great movie.
it
Some
is.
great acting, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Let me ask you something about psych. It's not like that movie, but I'm just wondering, was the Butterfly Effect a '90s movie or is that early 2000s?
Ooh, that's tough. That would be right on the line.
Right
Like,
on the mix, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
like if it was '90s, I would say '99 or
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like it's a 2000s movie.
yeah. I would say it's probably 2000, but another great pick. What are you gonna rate this? Because I have a rating for this movie in my head. I want to hear your rating and see if we're close here.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I don't know, like, fuck, I don't know, like it's right under like all time great stats. Like I would have like it's a great movie and it's a classic, but like I'm gonna give it a good 8.6.
Okay, I was in the sevens. I was in the sevens. So
7.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like we're getting our scales are a little off. Like I'm rating stuff all over the place.
yeah, but that's okay. We don't know what the hell we're doing, and it's only being you anyway. So whatever.
No, there's one guy. There's one person watching now.
Stay in the chat and watch it.
They're gonna log
But,
off right then.
Yeah, but okay. So my number nine here, I'm going to.
Yes, yes, they did. They logged off.
That's the thing, though. Going live, it's one of those things. You like people don't know what the fuck we're talking about, right? And they never seen us talking, so
They probably got nervous. They're like, "Oh, are they talking about me? Oh God, I'm out of here."
they saw me. But
Yeah,
okay, so my number nine. I'm going to 1998. This is a movie my brother and I have watched so many times. We laugh so hard at this movie. The combination of these two characters on the screen at the same time is fantastic. I'll read a quick synopsis I wrote here. A Chinese diplomat's daughter is taken. He calls for a Hong Kong detective to assist the FBI. The FBI wants nothing to do with him, so they dump him on a LAPD officer who can't seem to get anything right. And I'm talking about Rush Hour. Um, this is actually a really good movie. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker are, they mesh so perfectly to give us such a great comedy movie. Has lots of action. You get a good taste of Jackie Chan here. This was one of my first tastes of Jackie Chan. I've also wanted to put Rumble in the Bronx here, but
yeah.
Rush Hour to me is one of those ones I can just throw on whenever. I actually watched it a few days ago, so it's just one of those movies I really really love. Chris Tucker's overbearing here, but he's not as bad as like in The Fifth Element. So it's not
Oh God, that's
it's
the
not
second
bad.
time you've taken
Yeah.
a shot at Chris Tucker in The Fifth Element on this podcast. I think.
But he's perfect in this movie, and Jackie Chan compliments him so beautifully. I love the I love the scene when Soo Young gets taken and she's singing, "Fantasy" by Mariah Carey. But I wish they played ODB's part in it.
Yes,
What
ODBs.
when he's like, "Me and Mariah go back like babies and pacifiers." But no,
Oh
this is a
God.
great comedy movie with action. There's actually a trilogy of this series here, so be sure to look out for those if you've never seen this movie. I heard there's a rumor of a fourth one,
Is
so
that
I'm not
right?
I'm not really too sure, but this is a great movie. A movie I've watched with my brother so many times, and we just laugh so hard all the time from it. I'm gonna give this movie around the same as Sandlot. I'll give it about a 6.3. So I'll rate them both the same. It's not anything special, but it's your action comedy of the '90s. So
Yeah.
I'm looking for Dan's number eight to be a Steven Seagal movie. So we shall see.
Oh, Steven Seagal. Oh my God. Can't stand Steven Seagal. A big fat fuck. Oh, he doesn't even move around. Oh, like they film him from like the waist up, so you can't tell that. Oh, he's not fucking doing anything. He's not moving or anything. He's just standing straight up, going, and the other guy's just doing stuff around him.
I will say though, Jackie Chan is one of the greatest human beings ever. Like,
Jackie Chan can come over and pound my wife if he wants to.
but I feel bad for him because a lot of his movies here is always he's a Chinese detective working in LA. Or it's true though, right?
It's
These are
true.
the
Why doesn't anybody cast him as a Jamaican detective?
yeah. Why wasn't he in Cool Runnings? Why why was Jackie Chan not in Cool Runnings? That's the question. But again, guys, my number nine, Rush Hour from 1998. It's such a good, funny, great action movie. So be sure to look out for that and support Old Dirty Bastard.
And the blooper reels of Rush Hour are like the greatest bloopers in movie
Yeah,
history.
yeah. Jackie Chan is a maniac, man.
What
All right,
was
buddy.
that? Oh, we're on
What
number
is
8.
number eight?
All right, number 8. I got one that's on a lot of people's list. It's obviously like one of the more popular movies of all time, one of the more popular movies in the 1990s, and that is Jurassic Park,
Yep,
1993's Jurassic Park.
can't go wrong with that. I I will. I also have this movie on my list, so I'll just move it to my number eight spot. All these, I don't. It doesn't really matter to me. So I'll move this
Yeah,
here to my number eight, so we can just talk about it at the
talk
same
about it
time.
together.
Tell me your first reaction to seeing this movie, especially if you can remember back to seeing it in the '90s. I know Jurassic Park came out in '93, So we obviously seen it years later because we were
Yeah,
born in
yeah,
'98. But I've heard, from my father, from other people who talk about this movie, when they seen it, it was the most incredible thing they've ever seen. They'd never seen CGI like that before. So
yeah.
explain to me how you felt when you seen it, because I know when I first seen it, I almost shit my pants because I thought it was real dinosaurs on the screen.
Yeah, legitimately. Like when you're a kid, and also like we didn't have, like you said, we didn't see it in the theater on release. We're not watching it in HD. We're watching it on VHS.
Yeah,
And to watch it on VHS, yeah, those things might as well be real. Like it looked as
yeah,
real as it was going to get. And yeah, my first exposures to it are on VHS. I still can picture that beaten up VHS cover that we had over our Jurassic copy of Jurassic Park. And yeah, I remember being terrified at times. The opening scene where the raptor kills the Jurassic Park employee and stuff,
yeah,
that terrified me as a kid. It would almost be like hide somewhere else in the house until it got past that part so I could see that epic shot where you first see that Brachiosaurus. Like you mentioned, the
yeah,
special effects. That was just such an epic scene that like that like you see the newer movies, they try to like kind of recreate that magic at moments in their films. It's like you can't go back in time to that moment because it was basically this, you as an audience member, like you said, you've never seen anything like that before, so you're sharing the same experience as the characters on the screen of
yeah.
basically being in awe of seeing this thing that you can't believe is real.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're talking about a movie here that gets humanity pretty perfect here. If we were able to bring back dinosaurs with, DNA, we would do it. And
Even if we shouldn't.
yeah, and this would happen, a group is selected here to tour this, dinosaur theme park. They're told that it's completely safe, and it turns out to be far from the truth, right? And it's a crazy adventure, lots of action, lots of thriller scenes when you're on the edge of your seat. You don't know what's going to happen, especially when you're a kid. Seeing raptors running around and all this stuff, it is unbelievable. It blows your fucking mind.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the movie was so friggin' hyped. They basically created what a velociraptor was. I mean, everybody kind of knows that learned that over time. Like, what a raptor was in reality wasn't exactly what he used on
Yeah,
the screen. He basically redefined what that species was and made a bunch of people think it was something it wasn't. To the
yeah,
extent that our Toronto basketball team, when the expansion came to Canada, named the team after the
the
fucking
rap.
fiction, basically a fictional dinosaur from that movie.
Yep,
Like it's
yep.
unreal.
Talk about, if I get it right here, because I'm not really in the names of what, but talk about Steven Spielberg here in the '90s and
Oh,
the classics he directed here throughout the '90s. Tell me a little bit about his mind, his genius, and what he's done to the movie, what he's done for the movie industry.
yeah, I mean, Steven Spielberg is. I mean, if you're talking like mainstream blockbuster movies, he's the guy. I mean, there's nobody really compares to him. And you look at the '90s work, for example, like just absolute epics like this, fucking Schindler's List, like is
Yep.
completely opposite movie and is just incredible in all different ways in this. It's amazing that it's like that's the same guy doing both
Yeah.
those movies.
He also did Titanic, if I'm correct, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah,
Did he?
or is that James Cameron?
That's James Cameron, I
James
believe.
Cameron. James Cameron, another just
Yeah,
absolute heavy hitter of the '90s,
yeah,
especially big blockbuster stuff. Yeah, Steven Spielberg is. I mean, he was already just killing it in the '80s and into the '90s, just on fire. Like I said, between this and Schindler's List alone, like
yeah. So what do
I'm
we give
amazed that
him?
neither of us had ET in our '80s. That's we didn't.
I
I don't
know.
think we mentioned ET.
No, there was a lot of great '80s movies that again didn't make our list. That's incredible, right? But what do we rate Jurassic Park here? Give it a rating, Dan.
It's tough, right? I'm talking it up so much, but like again, like it's not like some movie you're going to be blown away by the acting. You're not going to be blown
Yeah,
away by like the dialogue or something like that. But like it's just a really great, entertaining classic movie that is timeless. I'm gonna give it like I'll give it a 7.8.
Yeah, I agree with that. Around the 7.6 to that 8-ish for sure
Mhm.
for Jurassic Park. But for the time, um, fuck, what a great looking movie, man.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
great movie.
absolutely.
And Jurassic Park is still popular to this day. So it's never died out. It's still around. But again,
Yeah.
I guess it's back to your turn here. We just did number eight,
Oh,
so
right,
it's
because we just did it
number
together,
seven,
didn't
right?
we?
Because we had the same movie. So go ahead and give your number seven.
Okay, my number seven. I think you knew this one was coming at some point. My number seven is by one of my favorite directors of the last 25 years, probably, and that's Quentin Tarantino. I guess 35 years, I should say, because I'm talking about the 90s. It's Quentin Tarantino, and I'm going to pick 1994's Pulp Fiction.
Absolutely.
I think you
Absolutely.
expected me to bring this up at some point.
Oh yeah. I thought it was gonna be in your top three actually, but we'll see.
No, I mean, the problem is like I actually enjoy a lot of his 2000s work a lot more. Actually, I'm not saying that they're better films, but I've always actually gravitated more towards Inglorious Bastards, Django, and actually really enjoy Hateful Eight. But
Yeah.
I did the first Tarantino movies I watched, of course, were Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir Dogs used to be my favorite, but I just find as time's gone on, I've been a little bit less interested in it, and I've consistently enjoyed Pulp Fiction. There's just so many great scenes in it. Basically, the movie follows all these different characters.
Yep.
There's two hitmen. You got one played by Travolta, one played by Sam Jackson.
Yep.
Uh, their boss Marcel. What is it? Marcellus Wallace, played by Ving Rhames, and his wife. You got a down and out boxer played by Bruce Willis. Got
Big
a couple
names.
that
Big names.
robs a nervous couple that robs a diner, and all these characters, their stories all intertwine in this wild tale that leads to a bunch of their demises.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just an incredible movie and just a really badass movie, to be honest. I remember watching it. That was my main opinion. I'm like, this is the most badass movie I've ever watched in my life. I mean,
Such great quotes from Pulp
oh
Fiction.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
And our friend Dave, he's got the bad motherfucker wallet, eh?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But
So
yeah, a great movie, and oh my god, the one scene in the end where they end up in the basement of Buddy's pawn shop,
oh,
all
fuck.
tied up and chained up. Oh god, yeah, it's just a wild movie. I mean, I assume most people have watched it, but if you haven't, you have to check out Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, it's probably one of the top five movies from the '90s. If you don't care to watch movies from the '90s, you have to see for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. There's a list that you should see. I don't know if a lot of those lists are going to come on here, but Pulp Fiction is one of those great movies. Such a launching pad for already guys that were, built, but took them to another level for
Well, that's the thing.
sure.
It kind of revived Travolta because people just kind of saw Travolta as that Saturday Night Fever Grease
Yeah,
guy, and it was one of the first ones in the '90s to really take him really serious and make him seem cool again. And then he's
yeah,
able to go on and play villains in movies and play action stars and stuff like that afterwards.
absolutely. So, what's your rating on Pulp Fiction?
Pulp Fiction. So, what I give Silence of the Lambs, I gave it like an 8.6. I got to dial Silence of the Lambs back to an 8. It's just an 8. And I'm going to make Pulp Fiction an 8.2.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It has to be in that eight category for sure.
Yeah.
I would
Again,
say
like,
7.8 to about 8.5.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So what
Definitely
are
not
we on
pushing
now?
it.
Number six? I'm all fucked up now. Yeah,
No,
we're
that
on
was
number.
my 7. So you're on 7 still.
Okay. Okay, for my number seven, I'm going to one of my favorite movies as a child, and it's still one of my favorite movies here. I'm going back to 1998, and I'm going with Small Soldiers. Um,
Oh yes, Small Soldiers. That's a great
such,
fucking movie.
such a great movie here. I'm just going to read off a quick synopsis. A teen boy, Alan, buys a set of commando elites. The toys have been programmed with military technology, leadership, leader Chip Hazard springs to life, ready to kill Archer and the Gorgonites.
The
So
Gorgonites.
what a great movie. We actually get introduced to a young Kristen Dunst here. I heard she's an
Oh,
asshole,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
she
I've heard that too.
as a young kid, she was absolutely beautiful in this movie. What a great fun ride Small Soldiers is. For any young kid to see a toy come to life is a dream come true, but it later
Yeah.
turns out to be a nightmare. Especially
Yes.
especially when you're an army soldier and you take it literally. So you'll do anything in your power to kill, the opposition,
Yeah,
and that's
your
what happened
enemy.
in this movie. There's crazy scenes in here when they're putting sleep tablets in humans' drinks. They're fucking lighting stuff on fire. They're, the cool scene when they're fighting the Barbie. Like there's some crazy scenes in this movie. Such a classic. I'm actually shocked when people say they've never heard of it. Like,
Really? Yeah, because
yeah,
for our generation, I mean, this was a freaking sensation when we were kids. Like
yeah.
like you said,
I,
it would seem like a dream when it's made.
some of the soldiers' names in this movie are absolutely classic. You got Chip Hazard, that Tommy
Yeah.
Lee Jones. You got
Yeah.
Nick Nitro. You got
Nick
Brick
Nitro, I
Bazooka.
had that figure.
Yeah, yeah, Brick Bazooka, Kip Killigan, Butch Meat Hook. Of course, that would be the black guy. And Link Static. It's a beautiful film. I had Archer growing up. He is the leader of the Gorgonites.
Oh,
There's some weird looking monsters, but such a classic, man. I'm actually gonna rate this movie a 7 for me because I love it so much. Um, just a great movie, man. Again, this falls right under the movies, the categories that I love. Dan probably knew this was gonna fall on my list at some point.
actually,
Uh,
I forgot. I forgot. I wasn't thinking this movie, to be honest. When you said it, I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah. But
it
it didn't pop in my head initially.
It makes sense if you know me that Small Soldiers is on my list. A beautiful movie. I absolutely love it. Don't put military technique in technology, I mean, in toys.
No,
You know what I mean? What you never know what's gonna happen. So guys, check that one out. It's great. And what's really cool too, back when we bought the toys, they actually came in the original movie box that,
yeah,
they come in the movie box. Such great figures, very expensive figures. I've tried to get them back over the past years, and I'm not willing to spend, $80 to $100 plus on an action figure anymore.
they
But
were a
it
good bulky size. Those
yeah,
things.
they were a good size too. Just like remember the
Mhm.
old Batman Bane toy, and he had like
Oh,
he was a
oh,
big
yeah.
toy too.
That
But
thing was huge.
a great film. Um, watch it. So
Yeah.
Dan, what is your number 6? I'm guessing.
Number six. Ooh, number six. So similar in the sense to toy soldiers
Oh,
that
another thing here, quick for a quick fact: Kristen Dunn doesn't wear a bra, so every time you see her acting, that's why you see her
really
nipples.
in that
Yes.
movie, eh?
No, I don't know. My wife told me that.
Oh, just in general. Just in
My
general.
wife told me that. I don't know. I don't know if
Well,
it's
we
true or
all
not.
know from Spider-Man. We all
Yeah.
remember those gifts from
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
those nipples, man. But
They won. They won
anyways.
the. They won the MTV award for best kiss for that scene.
Oh, of course. We all tried to emulate that kiss at one point, man.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so let's say my number six is similar to this in Toy Soldiers, to the sense that in Toy Soldiers, they kind of flip what you would think the good guy and the bad guys are. The monsters are the good guys and the soldiers are the bad guys. It's a similar sense in my number six movie. My number six movie is 1992's Best Picture and Best Director winner,
Oh,
uh, Unforgiven, starring and
okay.
directed by Clint Eastwood.
Wow, that's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, I thought you would. I knew you enjoyed this movie because I thought me and you had talked about this in the past.
Yeah, all Clint Eastwood movies are well done, man.
He's
Now,
he knows how to
they're,
direct
they're long.
himself. I'll give him
They're
that.
long. They're long, especially the older ones for sure. But
Yeah.
if you can sit through it, beautiful music, wonderful storyline, very in depth. Clint Eastwood with his classic one-liners, action. It's
Oh,
great.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mean, this movie kind of like I was saying with the toy soldiers, like he's like Clint Eastwood's the outlaw, but he's the good guy in this. The bad guy's the sheriff in the town. Like Clint Eastwood basically gets hired to go into this town and seek revenge for a prostitute that gets disfigured by some just like rambler outlaw guys that are in the brothel. Uh, the basically the prostitutes are mad that the sheriff didn't take enough action against the guy that disfigured the prostitute. So they hire Clint Eastwood and these other outlaws, his friends, to basically get retribution. The sheriff doesn't like the vigilantism in his town, and he goes after Clint Eastwood and his buddies hard and kills Clint Eastwood's best friend, played by Morgan Freeman, and basically leads to Clint Eastwood coming back at the end to get revenge. And it's really one of my favorite scenes in any Western movie ever is when he comes to the saloon to get his revenge. It's an incredible scene.
Why does Morgan Freeman always play? He always looks the same, man. It's like,
He never ages. He never ages. And man, he was in a lot of bangers in the '90s. Like
oh yeah,
we mentioned a few different actors now that have been in. Like you mentioned Tommy Lee Jones earlier with Toy Soldiers. Tommy Lee Jones was on fire in the '90s. He was everywhere.
Men in
Sam
Black.
Jackson was in a ton of shit. Like
Um,
there's a lot of guys that were in everything back in the day.
I find more in like the 2000 we get a different Morgan Freeman in acting. He's not so much in too many of like high action movies. It's more he takes a role, a lot of God. Like he's like a God kind of figure.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks he's God when they see him, but he plays the perfect God. Like, I know a lot of people go, if I was getting my life narrated, I want Morgan Freeman to narrate my life, right?
Yeah, but then
But
you just blend in
what
with
do you
everything
rate?
else Morgan Freeman narrated.
What do you rate Unforgiven?
Unforgiven. I mean, it's a great movie. It's a great movie. It won Best Picture, but I put Pulp Fiction an 8.2. I'll give this an 8 point. I'll give it an 8.2 as well. No, I'll give it an 8.1.
I
Just
thought,
0.1 below.
okay. I thought you went higher on Pulp Fiction. I thought it was like 8.5 or something. I don't know. Who knows?
No, I said
Who's
8.2, and you said it. You said it was anything from eight from 7 point something to 8.5.
Oh, yeah, 7.8, 8.5. That's a fair one for that one, for sure. Unforgiven is a great watch.
I got to
So
write down these ratings.
what are we at now? Because my list is all fucked up because I switched Jurassic Park.
You're on 6.
6? Let me switch this here because I'm all fucked up here.
6 is good. You
Okay,
remember that
I'm number 6. What year did that movie come out? You said 91, Unforgiven?
Unforgiven, I think it was 92. I got written down 92. Yeah, 92.
Okay. So I'm going to 91 here. I'll say it. I'll say it again. I'll say it 100 times. There is nothing better in this world than seeing Jean-Claude Van Damme do the splits, throw a high kick, and fuck a chick. And in this movie, we get a double dose of Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm talking about 1991's Double Impact.
Double
I
impact.
I fucking love this movie. 2 Jean-Claude Van Dammes on one screen. I don't think we get to talk about um, the acting ability of Jean-Claude Van Damme. He was great in this film, acting as, 2 characters. He plays, obviously, twins in this. Basically, a quick synopsis of this movie. 25 years after his father's death, he's killed by a Hong Kong crime boss. Unexpected twins brothers reunite to avenge his death. It basically brings brother Chad. He lives in California. He's a martial arts, instructor. He lives the clean cut life. He's got the polo shirt, the polo high top, and he's informed of all this information. He travels to Hong Kong to find his brother, who is not that kind of guy, right? So it's a great scene when he's there, and Frank is his brother. He goes to Hong Kong for, and Frank's girlfriend sees Chad, and she goes up to him. She's like, "Oh, I like the change. Oh, you got a haircut. I like the shirt." She's like, "Come with me." She unzips his pants, touches his balls, and she's like, "Oh, any other surprises?" He's like, "Big surprise." Huge surprise. And he's wearing black silk boxers, and his brother Frank comes in. His brother Frank comes in, headbutts him, he falls, and then afterwards, there's this funny scene when Frank's talking to the girl, and he's like, "You know, if you know me, you know I would never wear black silk underwear. He's a faggot."
Oh, really? They dropped the F bomb, eh?
Yeah, they drop
Oh,
it a
yes,
few
John
times.
Claude
There's a scene when Chad is he takes the girl, and the brother thinks they got something going on, and he's drinking a lot, and they come to the safe house, and they get in a fight and everything, and everyone's like, you're drunk," and he's like, "Yeah, well, I'm drunk, but when I wake up in the morning, he's still a faggot." But a great movie.
is this the movie where he fights the Penguins mascot at some point?
I think so. I can't remember.
I think it is, right?
Yeah, but Bolo Young's also in this movie.
Oh my God, he's in this one too.
Yeah, Bolo Young is in this movie as well.
He must owe John Claude money or something.
Yeah, he's always in every John Claude Van Damme movie.
And
But
he's
again,
always doing the job for him.
this is a great movie. You get to see double Van Damme, and it really shows his acting skills because he's got to play two different roles here for two different styles of living. He does such a great job in this movie. He had a lot of great movies in the 80s, 90s. He's everywhere. Arnold's everywhere. A lot of great action stars. Such a beautiful movie, man. For me, because I love it so much, I'm going to give it a 6.8 out of 10. There is, like we said, a lot of better movies than the movies so far on our list or whatever. But go on, and if you've never had a dose of John Claude Van Damme, watch Double Impact with him and
Get a
his
double
black
dose.
person. Hey, get a double dose.
Double
There's nothing
dose.
better.
I cut
There's
your line
nothing
off,
better.
sorry. I couldn't help it. Double dose.
I can't help it, buddy. A double dose of John Claude Van Damme. My pee is tingling.
That's not my John Claude Van Damme 90s movie though. My John Claude Van Damme 90s movie is Time Cop, bro.
Time Cop.
I
There's
fucking love Time Cop.
There's the Quest. There's Legionnaire. There's a bunch of movies.
And you can watch them all on Tubi.
There's a bunch of Time Cop. I like him with the long hair in Time Cop.
Yeah, he looks badass.
Yeah.
He almost looks as badass as Nick Cage and Con Air with the long hair.
He should have been Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat for sure, in that live action movie. But I think he took the role.
Johnny Cage and he would have been Guile. That'd been weird.
Yeah. Hey.
That's like being Batman and Spider-Man or something.
It's like being Green Lantern and Deadpool.
Nobody saw Green. It doesn't count because nobody saw Green Lantern. It's like if a tree fell in the forest and nobody's there to hear it.
What was that one Seth Rogen was in? Fucking Green Hornet or something?
Green Hornet, yeah. The original. I always want to go back and watch the original show with Bruce Lee as Kato.
Oh, fuck.
It's hard to find a lot of those old shows. Like I always wanted to see that. I always wanted to watch
on VHS.
Yeah, or buying like the DVDs or Blu-rays are stupid expensive.
Oh yeah. All right, you son of a bitch. Number 5.
Number 5.
We're almost there.
We're getting there. We're halfway there. Okay.
Now we're in a bit. Let's see.
Number 5, I'm picking another movie with Morgan Freeman in it. It's by, in my opinion, one of the better directors in the 90s. It's a David Fincher movie from 1995, and it is Seven, starring Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, and Kevin Spacey, and Gwyneth Paltrow as well.
Yeah, I knew you were going to have that one on your list.
Yeah, another great movie, a great Fincher movie, another, like we said, another great movie with Morgan Freeman in it. Brad Pitt, another guy that was in a lot of stuff too in the 90s.
Yeah.
Basically, it follows two detectives in polar opposite paths in their careers. One, Detective Somerset, played by Morgan Freeman, is transitioning into retirement, and he's on his last case. And the other is Detective Mills, played by Brad Pitt, and he's new to the department, new to the city, and it's basically his first case. And they're following a serial killer played by Kevin Spacey, who's selecting his targets and his method Method to Kill, that based on the seven deadly sins. Basically, each act is to represent a different one of the seven deadly sins, and they're basically tracing each one, slowly following this path to try to find Kevin Spacey, and it leads to really one of the craziest endings in a movie ever, probably.
Don't ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want to spoil it, but I mean it is kind of a classic movie. It is really old at this point, but like,
Go ahead and ruin it. Go ahead and ruin it.
yeah, I mean, no, I don't even. I won't ruin it, but I mean, everybody knows the classic. What's in the box? What's in the box?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just like it's the greatest, maybe one of the greatest sad ending to a movie of all time. It just leaves you just like, oh fuck. Well, the bad guy won, I guess. Like,
But that's cool to kind of see that, we never
yeah,
really see that kind of happen, right? So it's nice to get the plot twist.
yeah. It's kind of like I always hoped there'd be like a special edition of the first Jurassic Park where like the raptors just eat the kids. And then it's like, no, the Raptors win, and they eat the
Yeah,
T Rex too.
yeah. Hey, in Jurassic Park, you never know. 15 raptors, 8 raptors, you never know what happened, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what are we giving 7 out of 10? Are you going to give
Seven?
it a 7 out of 10?
No, it should get higher than a 7. Higher than a 7. I had those other two 8.2s. I don't think like I have this movie above it because I enjoy it on a regular basis more than Pulp Fiction and more than Unforgiven. But unbiasedly, I think that those other two movies are superior. I will give 7. Yeah, you know what? We'll go with a 7.9.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You could have just won 8. You could have just won. You should just round it up.
Keep it 7 in the sevens.
All right. So number 5, right? Am I correct?
Number 5. Number 5.
All right. Number 5 comes a movie I've talked about so many times on the podcast. Again, guys, I don't know how many times I've fucking seen this movie. I got introduced to it by my brother, my older brother. He brought it home on, a VHS that he had recorded off the TV. And I have never forgotten this movie, and I never will. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm talking about Street Fighter 2, the animated movie.
Oh, thank God. They're going to say Street Fighter the movie.
Yeah. Such a great fucking movie. One of the best opening scenes in an animated movie I'd say I'd ever seen. That fight to open it up, Ryu and Sagat. Beautiful, beautiful. The music's on point. The lightning in the sky, the grass blowing in the wind. Absolutely amazing. We get to see a lot of great fighting in this movie. Chun-Li and Vega, one of the most classic fight scenes.
That's an awesome fight scene.
If you have the Japanese version with the American dubbing, you actually get to see her naked. So that was a big thing for young kids to finally see Chun-Li naked. The final fucking badass scene there. Bison fucks up Guile. Ken comes out. He's evil. He's fighting Ryu. They team up. They fight Bison. And the greatest scene when he rips off his fucking chain. Oh, man, I love this movie. Look how excited I'm getting. But anyways, let me break down a synopsis of it here. M. Bison's recruiting the greatest fighters in the world. He targets Ryu, unable to recruit him. He captures Ken Masters, Ryu's best friend and ex-training partner, who shares a very similar style. And meanwhile, Interpol teams with the American government to bring down Shadow Law. So that brings Chun-Li with Guile. So we get everybody's in here. Balrog's in here. E Honda's in here. Zangief's in here. Blanca's in here. We have everyone you loved from the Street Fighter video games in this movie, and it's not a bad movie like Dan said, like Street Fighter the live action.
No,
It's beautifully done here. Wonderful. Cammy's in here. She has a badass scene when she breaks the guy's neck in the beginning. Wonderful, wonderful movie. For me, I'm gonna give it a 7.8 out of 10. I've watched this movie so many times. I was so lucky. I know you know this. I was searching for this movie for so long on DVD when we used to go picking when we were, 16 to 18. I remember I went to Goodwill and I looked on the shelf and I couldn't believe my fucking eyes. It was there still in the wrapper, brand new. Oh my goodness, I went home and watched it so many times. Great movie, man. Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. Watch it.
Is I'm trying to think of all the characters in it. There is so many of the even
Yeah.
extended characters too, eh?
T-Hawk's in it. T-Hawk's in it.
Yeah, Tiak
DJ,
gets fucked up.
DJ's in it. Yeah.
Yeah, DJ, right? Right for DJ's in it.
There's a
Is
great
Dan
scene
in
when
it? Dan in it?
no, yeah,
Oh,
I think he might be like a
he's a
cameo.
cameo?
But
Yeah.
I know Akuma's a cameo in it.
Yeah, he's by the wall, right? He's by the
Yeah,
wall where Dhalsim's fighting, right?
yeah, Bowsum's there. There's a great fight scene with Fei Long and Ryu.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's a
Fei Long.
great, well done movie, man. And then at the end, after the credits, it's one of the first times you see this in a movie with after credits. There's something after the credits, and Ryu's walking down the road with his bag, and all of a sudden a transport truck comes, and it's Bison in there driving it, and then
Yes.
and then Ryu does a jumping kick, and it cuts out.
It's like
Oh, fuck. Everything's great.
NWO, WCW Revenge.
Yeah,
That's what it
and
reminds
then
me of.
Dan's favorite part is Ken Masters blasting some fucking Alice in Chains
Them
driving down
bones.
the
Them bones.
such a great movie, man.
It is. That's a great animated movie.
Wonderful movie. So give me your number 4, man.
Number four. Number four. Wow, we're on number four already.
Yeah, we're flying. This is perfect because we only wanted to go an hour and a little bit, so we're actually doing well.
We should be on track. Okay,
But
my number four is from
so
19. Hey.
go ahead.
Oh, it's from 1992, and I've mentioned it on, I think, on the Boyz TikTok as my favorite Tom Cruise movie of all time.
I know what it
And
is.
yeah, you do now. And this is 1992. Rob Reiner directed A Few Good Men.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, you knew this was coming. You knew this was coming at some point. Again,
I'm surprised I haven't seen oh maybe it's still coming up. We'll see.
yeah, we'll see. I don't think. What's my top three again? Okay, I think you can guess one of my top three. I think you can guess the next one, but I don't think you can get the top two.
We won't go there yet. We won't go there.
Okay. Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Few good men. Star-studded cast in this. Talking like Tom Cruise, talking Kiefer Sutherland, Demi Moore, Kevin Bacon, Jack Nicholson. It's just a monster cast. Basically follows Tom Cruise plays a military lawyer who's teamed up with Demi Moore, who's also a lawyer, and they're representing two Marines who are being charged with murdering another Marine on base in Guantanamo Bay. And basically, as the movie goes on, it's revealed that they just acted upon orders that came down from chain of command, basically. And the victim was basically a Marine who couldn't keep up with the training, couldn't keep up with the other Marines. So command basically sent an order to do a code red, which is basically like an initiation to basically pressure this guy to get his shit together, essentially, and things go wrong and Buddy dies. And yeah, the two Marines take the fall for it. And for them to try to exonerate the Marines, they call the Colonel Jessup to the stand, Jack Nicholson's character. And that's where you get that classic line that even people have never seen the movie know, the "you can't handle the truth" line, one of the all-time lines in movie history. And yeah, just an awesome movie. A movie I've been watching since I was in high school, like regularly. My brother had the DVDs, and I would just watch this all the time. This and like Top Gun. I sometimes just go on Tom Cruise binges with these movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of my all-time favorite movies of all time. But
good old Tom Cruise days, Dan.
yeah, and Rob Reiner too. I mean, I never think of Rob Reiner as like one of my favorite directors, but Few Good Men and Spinal Tap.
Yeah. So give me your rating for A Few Good Men.
Few Good Men. Few Good Men. Like, obviously, I like it more than those other movies. It's not on the same level as Seven, Unforgiven, or Pulp Fiction. Few Good Men is a solid 7.2.
Yeah, fair enough. 7.2 to 7.5.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Number 4 comes a movie. Well, like a lot of my movies are definitely not on anyone's top 10 of the 90s movies, but
Hey, you've had some bangers too, though.
I'm gonna give you a name here, and I want to see if you can kind of guess. Sally Jones. Does that ring a bell?
It does ring a bell, but
I'm hoping I'm getting her name right. Sally, how about Haru? Anything?
no, no, nothing.
I'm going to 1997 as my number four pick of my favorite movie. I've watched this movie so many times. I absolutely love this movie so much, and I'm going with Beverly Hills Ninja, starring
Oh,
Chris Farley. Such a great fucking
I've
movie.
never seen this movie.
I've never seen Beverly Hills
I've never
Ninja.
seen
Oh,
Beverly Hills Ninja.
Basically, a quick synopsis. A young boy washes ashore a small Japanese village of skilled ninjas. They raise him as as their own, but he turns out to be fat and uncoordinated. But he intends on becoming a real ninja. And basically, what happens? Um, a beautiful white lady from America comes seeking a ninja, and he portrays himself as the great white ninja, and he's far from it. And he goes to America not knowing their culture at all, and he tried to help Sally Jones out. It's a classic. You'll absolutely love it. There's an awesome scene when I used to love as a kid with Chris Rock, and he's swinging from the tree trying to get into the building, and then they're playing Jungle Book. Oh, it's such a great movie. It also has Robin Shou in it, the guy that plays Liu Kang.
Oh, there we go.
He's
Who's
actually
the
he's
who's the
his
main guy?
brother. He's his
Oh,
brother. Yeah, so he's Chris Farley's kind of like
Chris
brother.
Farley. Okay. Oh,
And
that's Chris Farley. True. Okay. I can't believe I've never seen that.
no, you would actually love that. I think you should watch it. You'll probably get some really good laughs out of it.
Oh, definitely. Because
It's
Chris Farley's
fucking
hilarious. Yeah.
fantastic, man. So I'm gonna give Beverly Hills Ninja. I'm gonna give it a 7 for me. I've watched it so many times. I love this fucking movie, man. It's such a good movie, man. So be out there if you've never seen it. I'm not talking about Beverly Hills Cop. I'm talking about the
That's
great.
80s anyways.
I'm talking about Beverly Hills Ninja Haru. Come on.
R.I.P. Chris Farley.
Number three, Dan. Top
Number
three.
three. Number three. Okay, that
I'm actually gonna take out my top three and I'm gonna shock the people.
shock the people because you are the shock master. Oh God!
That's funny
Anybody
that's
that would
funny
watch
when
our podcast would know that.
that's funny when he falls and he can't. He fell on his ass.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God! You can
Was
hear Flair. You can hear Flair go. Oh God!
that Davy Boy? He fell on his ass.
Yeah. Well, it might have been somebody backstage because they've got Oli with the mic right
Yeah,
on in the
that's what
back,
I'm
so it could
saying.
be somebody around him, right?
I think it was Davy Boy was beside him and he's like, he fell on his ass.
Everybody in that segment is so horrible. Like even before the Shockmaster comes out, they're all just yelling nonsense over top of each other. You can't make out a fucking
I
word.
know, I know WCW had some bad ideas, but why would they think a fat guy in a stormtrooper helmet would be? It's like, what were you thinking?
Like they don't. I feel like they didn't even plan shit. They're just like, well, there's gonna be a new character debut, and then like they just didn't think at all of what the character would be until like an hour before, and they're like, oh shit, grab that, and there you go. There's your costume.
All right, buddy. Give me your top three. We're not talking top 10 fucking WCW bloopers. We're talking about top 10
Oh.
90s movies.
Yes. And my number three is one that I know you saw coming. Another David Fincher movie. Everybody can probably guess. Right at the end of the 90s, 1999's classic Fight Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Great
knew it was
movie.
coming.
Such
Yeah.
a when I first watched this movie and the twist at the end, like I was
Oh,
like, what the fuck?
oh
Great,
I
great
mean,
movie.
and the acting too. I mean, Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, Helena Bonham Carter. They're all awesome and they're all fantastic. Meatloaf, even bitch tits Bob.
So give a quick synopsis for anyone who hasn't seen Fight Club. It's a trip for sure. It's a
Yeah,
great.
kind of. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain because it's like
It is.
to
It
tell the
is.
story linearly almost doesn't do it justice. It's kind of like the movie is just so indicative of 90s angst. Like That's what it's just such an expression of angst. Like all these guys going through their lives, feeling unsatisfied, feeling like husks of men, and like this primal urge and angst and rage that they need to let out, and whether it's towards beating themselves up or towards like the corporate establishments that they blame for their lives feeling empty. It's just such a fantastic movie, and of course, like you said, the twist at the end, the idea that like for Edward Norton's character to take this action, he's had to create an entirely separate persona from himself to do so. It's just a brilliant movie. And we talk. Oh, what was I talking about? End scenes. We were talking about Unforgiven's end, and we were talking about the finale of another movie. But the end of Fight Club is just so classic, where they're standing in front of the windows. You find out that he was Tyler Durden the whole time, and then you see those buildings all blow up, and that Pixies music comes on. Just such a classic scene. Just an incredible movie.
So what's the rating?
Fight Club. I'm going to say Fight Club is the best movie I have on my list so far, and I'm going to give it an 8.7.
Yeah, I was gonna say about 8 to 8.5. Yeah, so around 8. That's fair, I would say.
Yeah.
For sure. But let's go to my number 3.
Number 3.
I'm stuck here because I wanted to put this other movie here, but because I've seen this movie more, the one I want to switch in, but this one is a better movie. I'm going to 1998. One of the greatest war film opening war scenes you'll ever see in any movie. Even if you only watch the first 20 minutes of it, it will blow your fucking mind. I can only imagine going to watch that at the theater for the first time, seeing that opening scene when they arrive on the beach, and I'm talking about Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, or I mean, only to be outdone by Shaving Ryan's Privates. It's parody, it's porno parody.
But
Yeah, I mean,
again,
honestly, when you're talking in '90s movies, as soon as you say that great opening scene, I mean, most people I feel like know what you're gonna say. Like,
oh,
it's that
exactly.
good.
And it's got a great cast of characters again. It's
Oh,
got a ballpark of great actors. Basically, a quick synopsis here. Captain Miller and his platoon search for Private Ryan after his 3 brothers have been killed in action. So basically, they're sent back on this dangerous mission to find this private after 3 of his brothers have been killed in the war, and they just cannot send their mother another note saying all 4 of your sons have died. Such a great movie, a good emotional movie here. All the characters go through their own little thing here, test of strength, and man, it sucks what happens to Captain Miller at the end because you don't want something like that to happen. But great movie. I think everyone has probably seen this movie. I would assume. I don't know if you haven't seen it. Your history class has probably put on the first, like I said, 20 minutes to just blow your fucking mind, and it still looks incredible.
oh,
And we're talking about one of the best opening scenes in a movie, and that still doesn't do it's doesn't do justice to what those actual men faced, you know what I mean? We can get all emotional seeing this, but what those actual men witnessed and saw and went through, unbelievable movie, great movie, Saving Private Ryan. I'm gonna give Saving Private Ryan exactly what you gave Fight Club there. I'm gonna go for an 8.5 to about 8.7.
yeah, it's one of the most incredible depictions of war. Really, like that opening scene you're talking about, like just like the disorienting feeling of that opening scene of being like dropped on a beach, all these explosions going off, and it's how disoriented you feel even just watching it. I feel like it gets it across.
Like
And
I
then
would
like,
love to go to the movie theater now when they bring back classic movies and to watch Saving Private Ryan in D box.
oh my
Imagine
god,
being in the D box seats, that opening scene, like you're saying, the bombs going off, they're on the ground, gunshots, explode. It's incredible. Saving Private Ryan is a great movie, and it comes in at my number three.
Yeah,
My
and another one I think for like younger kids take for granted because you know then you have all these like big Christopher Nolan World War II movies where you can just do so much more visually in modern time, like your Oppenheimers that are out now and all these other movies that have come before, and it's really just to like there was so many World War II movies that came after Saving Private Ryan that it kind of saturated the market. But that movie when it came out was just so incredible, and the market wasn't saturated for World War II movies when it came out. It was because that movie was so great and it influenced so many more movies to be made.
Yeah, and Tom Hanks in the '90s. That's another guy
Oh,
that
on
that was
fire!
a big hitter, man. Big box office hitters. And I'm assuming one of his movies is probably not coming up on the list, but it may come up. We still have two more choices here. So
Yeah, I
Dan,
was gonna say I
give us
thought
your
there
number
was gonna be
two.
one more Tom Hanks movie for you, but I guess I think I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong. I don't think it's on your list.
Number two. You never know. I still have a lot of movies
I
that I
think
loved as a young
I think
kid.
you're gonna get to the end of your list. You're not gonna name it, and then you're gonna be like, "I'm tired, boss."
You never know. Indian in the cupboard is still in the weights.
What the hell is Indian in the cupboard? Isn't that like an old fucking commercial or something? What the hell is that?
Indian in the Cupboard is a great movie from 1995 where a boy gets a cupboard for his birthday, and when he puts toys in it and he turns the key and opens it, the toys come to life. And he does that and befriends an 18th century Indian named Little Bear. It's a it's
Oh,
a it's a great movie, man. I've
that
watched it
kid's
so
an
many times.
that kid's an idiot. I would put a sex doll in there.
Well, it can't fit in there, man. The cupboard's it's a little tiny cupboard, man. You can fit like an action figure in there.
Yeah, can you imagine how you put your sex doll in there and it's not big enough to get out, so it comes to life and it's just screaming like, "Oh God, no, my back!"
I can say, I also had a cupboard with a cool key when I was a kid from the movie. Not the, but my parents bought one from an auction, and I used to put my wrestling toys in there. And I used to just sit there and pray and turn the key and then wait and then put it back in and open it and hope my Stone Cold and my Rock started walking out. But it
Wow,
never,
you
it
really?
never happened.
You were a dumb kid. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
The movie came out in '95. I was like, fuck, I probably seen it when I was like 4 or 5, yo. I was like,
Your dad walks by. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm waiting for my toys to come alive." He just shakes his head. He's like, "Oh, I guess he's not going to be a doctor."
far from it. Far from it. All right, yo, give me your number two here.
Okay, I thought you didn't play with toys. That's what you've been telling me. I can't do Chris's toy box. I didn't play with toys.
I don't play with toys, man.
No, you just wait for them to come alive.
That's it. Why you
Fuck.
think why you think Small Soldiers was on my list?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. You only play toys with military technology.
That's it. All right, give me your number two.
All right, my number two is a movie I didn't really grow up watching. I discovered it late. A friend of mine, Jason, got me into this director in my 20s. I had known of a bunch of his movies, but I'd never really taken the time to dive in. And that is the director is Kevin Smith, and the movie at number two is 1994's Clerks, his debut
Oh,
film.
Clerks.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the first exposure I had to a Kevin
Number
Smith
two.
film at number two.
Okay.
My first exposure to a Kevin Smith film, I think, was like the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back movie.
Yeah.
And I never liked it. I thought it was stupid, right? And I didn't really enjoy the humor. It was just too dumb, too immature for me. Even as a teenager, I thought it was kind of lame. But his sense of humor and his comedy and all of his other movies is much more mature, and his writing is much better in a lot of his films. Like this movie, that's what took me back about it. Like the jokes and the humor are clever, but it's the writing that, like, even when the characters are in absurd situations, they still feel like real guys that you would know and you would grow up with. And I
Yeah.
think that's why the movie's grown on me so much, is like kind of like we love to reminisce on our childhood and growing up. And that's kind of what I see. I watch a movie like that. I see a lot of the same characteristics in those characters as people that I grew up with, my late teenage years, early 20s, and stuff like that. But a little synopsis of the movie: basically, Dante gets called in on his day off for a shift at the Quick Stop convenience store, and his buddy Randall, who's a total slacker employee that works at the video store next door, is there to basically help him kill time. I mean, that's pretty much all there is to say about it. I mean, it's just there's a lot of there's jokes about a lot of jokes around his relationships, around pop culture stuff. You know, we talked about that classic Star Wars scene in our Star Wars episode. But yeah, to me, just a really enjoyable movie. It's Kevin Smith's debut as a director. They only had a budget of $27,000 for this movie, so he made it. I mean, he made it with like one camera and his buddies in the local convenience store in his town. And yeah, I mean, just a classic movie, a cult classic for sure. It's one of those ones that are divisive. Half the people that watch it are gonna be like, "This is brilliant, and this is incredible," and half the people are gonna be like, "This is boring and overrated."
Yeah.
It's just one of those movies. Just like a lot of almost every cult classic is kind of like that. But yeah, that's my number two. It was my first exposure to Kevin Smith, and that's Clerks. 1994's Clerks.
So what are you rating Clerks? I didn't think it was going to be that high.
Oh yeah, I absolutely love Clerks. It's tough because, like I said, it's a divisive movie, but I will give it 7.8.
Ooh. All right.
I have a lot of respect for Kevin Smith's writing.
You only like him because you like comic books. Don't fucking lie to me.
Oh, just wait. Just you wait, sir.
Anyways, my number two, I'm also going to jump to 1994 here. This movie really needs no introduction. It's such a great movie, and I'm going with Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, yes.
Such a great movie. If you need a synopsis, this takes place in 1947. Banker Andy Dufresne is convicted of killing his wife and her lover. He's given a two life sentence term. And when he's in there, it's just an adventure of its own. It's absolutely genius. Shawshank Redemption. Morgan Freeman is good in this movie. Tim Robbins. Oh, what can you say about him in this movie? He is unbelievable. What a great
Yeah.
story. What a great story this is. Very in depth, and it has so many twists and turns. It's such a wonderful, wonderful movie. If I'm gonna rate this movie, I'm gonna give it an 8.9 out of 10.
I was gonna say that's fair. I would say like this. This actually isn't on my top 10. Like it's not my number one. Obviously, there's only 5 left. But I would say, like unbiasedly, this is probably the greatest movie of the 1990s.
Yeah, it is fantastic. This and Forrest Gump are very good movies. But the depth of this movie is so good. Such a great movie. I don't know if there's anyone that's never seen Shawshank Redemption. Like I don't even
Yeah,
know
it's one of those ones that you have to see.
Yeah, like we talked about the 5 movies you probably have to see in the 90s. This is one of them.
Absolutely.
100%. Such a classic, man. I don't think there's anyone that can say something bad about this movie. The character development in this movie is unbelievable. The storyline is unbelievable. Just an overall great fucking movie. But then we have come to number one.
Uno.
Let's get number one out of the way here, and then we can end this fucking podcast.
Oh yeah, okay. My number one is again going back.
Hold on, I know what it is. I know what it is here. Go ahead.
What is it? Name it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, going back to director.
Hold on. Is it initials JM?
Nope.
Oh.
JM. Okay, what were you thinking?
Go ahead. Just go ahead.
Okay. Back to director Kevin Smith and his 1997 rom-com Chasing Amy.
Oh, fuck Kevin Smith, yo.
Have you seen this? Are you aware of this movie?
No, I don't know what this movie is.
This movie is awesome. This movie is one of the best rom-coms I've ever seen. I fucking hated Ben Affleck until I watched this movie, and I came out of this movie not minding Ben Affleck.
Okay. Good. You know
He-
why? So give us a synopsis of it.
So Ben Affleck plays the protagonist, this character Holden, who is a comic book artist and writer, um, alongside his best friend Banky, who's the inker for his comic book. He basically finds himself, he falls in love with this girl who he finds out afterwards is actually gay. Um, as time goes on, like he builds a relationship with her. Eventually, he ends up in a relationship with this girl, thinking and assuming that her only past sexual partners have ever been women. And basically, he finds out that a bunch of the dudes that he grew up with had like all fucked her in high school, essentially.
Mhm.
And it basically changes everything he thinks about his relationship and basically puts him in a situation where he's kind of has to rethink everything all of his previous concepts of sexuality and relationships and stuff. And the situation's made worse by his best friend who disapproved of the relationship the entire time. But the movie on the surface just seems like kind of a slacker comedy rom-com, but it just really dives really deep into like a lot of different perspectives on sexuality and relationships. Some perspectives very simple. His friend Banky is kind of like has like a teenage boy mentality towards relationships and sexuality, while
Yep.
his love interest Alyssa is kind of like wide open, an open-minded, free spirit kind of type, and he's kind of caught in the middle between the two. And yeah, just an excellent movie. It's got a lot of clever humor in it. Like you brought, I only like the Kevin Smith because of the comics. It's got a lot of comic references and stuff like that. But it's just a really well done rom com, and it's a movie like I literally only discovered it a few years back, and I'll go through periods where like I watch this movie and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna watch it the next night too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch this one. I will watch this one this weekend.
It's a good movie.
I'm not really a Kevin Spacey guy or Stacy,
Kevin
whatever the fuck his name.
Spacey. Kevin Spacey. He's the killer in Seven.
Yeah, I'm not really I'm not really one for him, but I will watch it, yo.
His also his some of his work on Daredevil is pretty good in the comic books. Kevin Smith. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've become a real big Kevin Smith guy over the
So
recent years.
what's the rating? This one
My ranking
I'm
for
gonna check this one out for sure though.
yeah, definitely. It's like I said, it's just a really good rom com, and I think you'll enjoy some of the like pop culture references. There's some good scenes where they're playing old NHL games and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. You know I'll probably like it, yo.
Yeah, and but I'll give it a 7.6.
Okay. I actually thought you were gonna say Jerry Maguire. I thought we were gonna see Jerry
Oh
Maguire.
no,
I
Jerry
thought you
Maguire.
I thought
That
you
was my
loved that
number
movie.
5 Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you loved that movie. I thought we were gonna see it. But
No,
anyways, guys, my number one movie of all time. It's also
of the '90s.
my favorite movie of all time,
Oh, it
actually.
is your favorite movie of all time.
I've seen this movie so many times. I fucking love this movie. And that is Terminator 2.
Ooh.
Such a great movie. Quick synopsis here. 11 years after the original Terminator, John Connor is the target of a shape-shifting T-1000 Terminator sent from the future to kill him, but the revamped T-800 Arnold has been sent back to protect him. So it's a great movie, lots of action, funny quotes in this. You look like Wayne Gretzky on steroids. Like
Yes.
it's a great movie. Really, the T-1000 really scared me. This liquid guy that's
Yeah.
Arnold was shooting him in the head, and he would just remorph. Uh, just a great story. I think we can all talk about Cyanide and all this stuff being Google now. You know what I mean? Like Google is basically
Yeah.
it knows everything about you. All it has to do is when they make this AI robot take over, and now we got man versus machine. Um, what a great fucking movie this is, man. Robert Patrick is great as the T-1000. Linda Hamilton, plays a great Sarah Connor. Fuck, I love this
Yeah,
movie. I'm gonna give it an 8.9 out of 10. It is a fucking fantastic movie. I've seen this movie countless times. It is my favorite movie of all time. I always ask the question, if you're locked in a movie theater, what movie would you watch? And this would be it. Such a great badass movie, Terminator is.
I
But
thought you I thought you were gonna go with the Pamela Anderson Tommy Lee sex tape, but
oh no, not yet. But
Terminator
anyways,
2
guys,
T2. Hey, why? What do you say?
what were you saying?
Oh, I said T2. T2. That's James Cameron, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say James
great
Cameron all over
movie.
the '90s.
Terminator 2, 100% is my number one 90s movie of all time. But guys, we're here. We're going to wrap it up. We actually went what we wanted to, an hour and 20
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, that's
Perfect
exactly what
timing.
we wanted.
Um,
Give
so
us
guys,
wait. Didn't even do a synopsis. We should have at least counted down our tens.
okay, so we'll count back our tens here. Number 10, The Sandlot. Number 9, Rush Hour. Number 8 was Jurassic Park. Number 7, Small Soldiers. Number 6, Double Impact. Number 5, Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. Number 4, Beverly Hills Ninja. Um, Number 3, Saving Private Ryan. Number 2, Shawshank Redemption. And number 1, Terminator 2 for me.
Nice, nice. And mine was number 10, Empire Records. Number 9, Silence of the Lambs. Number 8, Jurassic Park. Number 7, Pulp Fiction. Number 6, Unforgiven. Number 5, Seven. Number 4, Few Good Men. Number 3, Fight Club. Number 2, Clerks. And number 1, Chasing Amy.
All great movies, and there is 1,000 more movies we left off our list that a lot of people go, "What the fuck?" But this is
Nobody
our
had
list.
Schindler's List on the list.
This is our list. This is what we love growing up, and getting into more like Dan said with the clerks and stuff later on in life. So, guys, we will see you next week with a special episode. I'll give Dan the pick which one he wants to do here. We're
Woo!
going, we're going back to the video game realm. It's either going to be our top 10 Xbox 360 games or our top 10 N64 games. So
Oh,
we'll
fuck.
let Dan pick, and we will announce on our Instagram page we have got now. We'll put it in the
Brand
link.
new.
We both have TikTok pages here with great content, a lot of music. Dan has a great channel going on when he talks about his toy box growing up. So be sure to check all those out. And we will see you maybe again next Thursday. It looks like this is a good time for us. Maybe we'll switch. We'll see how the hours and everything work out. But guys, again, thank you for tuning in. And Dan, send the folks home.
Oh, in honor of Chris's number 1 pick, we'll be back.
Have a good night, guys.